Manchester United versus Brighton. Two of the best teams in England, coached by two of the best managers in the world. They're going head to head this weekend at Wembley in an FA Cup semi-final. You have to be excited for this match as a football fan. Today we're going to talk about how Manchester United might be able to win this game. So as you can see, I'm sitting here getting myself all excited for this FA Cup game between United and Brighton. But then I realised something. I'm away on Sunday, which means with the game only being shown live on BBC iPlayer, I won't be able to watch the match. You see, BBC iPlayer is only available in England or in the UK. I'm not going to be in England or in the UK, so I won't be able to watch the match. And honestly, when I discovered this, I was absolutely gutted. But then I thought of something. Surfshark VPN. Surfshark VPN is a VPN provider, which means that with just one click I can change my location and bam, now I can watch the game on BBC iPlayer and also catch the weekend's highlights on Match of the Day as well, from literally anywhere in the world. On top of this, Surfshark VPN will also allow me to get around geo-blocking, which means that those annoying Netflix or Disney Plus shows, which are only available in the US or Canada, will now be available to me from anywhere in the world. As well as all of this extra content which you can now access from literally anywhere, Surfshark VPN also protects you from having any of your data stolen. It's like locking your front door, but on the internet, keeping your information safe from hackers. And now, thanks to the brilliant people at Surfshark VPN, you guys can now get 83% off your membership, plus 3 whole months for free when you use the code AJAnalysis. So make sure to check it out using the link in the description down below. So the first thing that I want to say before we really break down the tactics is that this video is going to be done in a slightly different style to how I normally do these. Manchester United are a team that I preview a lot on the channel. I talk about most of their games and how they can win them. However, what you can probably see as regular viewers on the channel right away is that we are taking a different angle of approach for this. And that is because I think Brighton are the better team here. Now, maybe the league table says otherwise. I don't care. I think Brighton are the better team. I think they're better on the ball. I think technically they're much better. And they have much more ability to take control of a football match than what United do at this moment in time. Therefore, we are going to look at things from a different point of view. Rather than looking at how Manchester United can, dominate the ball, play out from the back, whatever. We're going to look at, one, how Brighton will try and do that, take control, move the ball forward, create chances, and how United can try and stop this. Now, like I said, it may not be the approach that some United fans want. We want to see Ten Hag's side dominating the ball, but De Zerbi's Brighton is so good. I done a video covering them a few months ago. You have to check it out. They are so good at football. They are really good. So I don't think United can go toe-to-toe in a possession battle and outplay them. I think Brighton are the better team. So instead what we're going to see in this game is Brighton taking control. So first of all, how do they take control? So the main way in which Brighton take the ball away from you and take control is just with their absurd technical quality. They use a method which I'll probably refer to as in, back and through, something we'll come back onto later on in the video, and it's going to make life really difficult for Ten Hag and his side. So the question is, how do United go about approaching this? We've seen different approaches in the Premier League. We've seen teams go super high on the press, try and squeeze really high. We've seen teams sit off in a bit more of a mid-block. And we've seen teams really sit off in a real low block and try and reduce the space for Brighton. The problem is, De Zerbi has found a way through all of these structures so far. So what does Ten Hag go for? A high press, a mid-block, a low block. What is the solution? Well, I've been thinking about it for a couple of weeks now. I've been looking into it, looking at different Brighton games, what you can expose against them, different things. I am going to maybe fight fire with fire here, which might backfire, it might be dangerous. I think Manchester United should go for the high press. So let's look at how this kind of plays out on the pitch. Like I said, it will be Brighton playing the ball up from the back. How do they do this? Well, their two centre-backs tend to be quite close to each other. We'll then see the full-backs push further forward, either side of the two midfielders, and it becomes kind of a 2-4-4 shape. The number 10, which is likely to be in CISO in this game because of injuries, starts further up the pitch and then is going to drop into these areas. The game plan always for Brighton is to get the ball moving through the pitch. Now, when I'm talking about in, back and through, that little strategy I was talking about, it looks something like this. You feed the ball into a midfielder, you then lay the ball back, and then you go through. Like that, basically. That is what Brighton want to do to you. So United have to try and figure out a way to stop this. The way that I would approach the game is with a 4-1-4-1 shape. Now, you will notice a couple of changes in the lineup. In terms of the defence, I think it's probably just the best options with the players that are currently fit. Obviously, Varane, Lisandro Martinez both out, Maguire suspended. United don't have too much choice, so I would go with this back four. Casemiro shielding them. Fred is going to come into the team because Sabitzer and Eriksson just haven't really been good enough off the ball in the last couple of games, and we've gone for Weghorst up front. And I want to talk about why. I'll tell you the reason why, straight away actually. Like I've said already, Brighton like their two centre-backs to be quite close to each other. Quite close together. They don't tend to split and make the pitch massive, sometimes they do. However, they are quite happy to play close to each other. What this means is that someone like Weghorst, his energy, his pressing intensity, his athleticism, his stamina, I think he might be able to, at times, cover both of them just as one pressing player. I think he can chase these areas, basically, and it's why I would go with Weghorst up top as opposed to Martial or Rashford, simply because I think his work rate is better. He is going to have to work his backside off between these two players. Then what United should do behind this is go for a 4-1-4-1 approach, with the wingers playing quite narrow initially. Like this, Antony and Rashford tucked into these half spaces. Now, a lot of the time I will suggest going super high on the fullbacks like this, try and stop them getting the ball, but Brighton are so good at moving the ball through these areas that I just don't think you can leave that space. So instead, I want to see the wingers tucked into the half spaces to kind of shadow press behind them, but also apply pressure on the ball. And then we've got Fernandes and Fred going man for man with Caicedo and McAllister in the middle. Now, you might look at this and say, that's not a good idea. We've seen teams try and press these midfield two before, and it doesn't work well. When McAllister and Caicedo get pressed, they are too good at getting out. This is a bad idea. AJ Analysis channel, what on earth are you suggesting? And I agree. I completely get it. However, we're going to be pressing them in a different way to what most teams do. A lot of teams have tried to press the Brighton midfielders, McAllister and Caicedo, in with the idea of the fact that those two are not going to get the ball. That has been the intention of a lot of teams, and they're just too good. Their movement is too good that it doesn't work, and you get caught out. So what we've seen teams doing is going super high like this, super high, but their movement is so good, they'll stagger like this, and a quick 1-2, and they manage to play the ball around you. So that isn't actually my game plan. Yes, I want to go man for man with them, but I don't want to stop them getting the ball. The intention, rather than stopping them from getting on the ball, is rushing them when they do get the ball. So let me just clarify that. We're not trying to stop the two midfielders from getting on the ball, we're just making sure that when they do get the ball, they do not have a second of rest. Because what Brighton love to do is quickly play the ball around the corner. If Fred and Fernandes are able to get super close to them, super tight, don't give them a minute's rest, we can see errors from this Brighton team. And there are games where they do turn the ball over in this area quite a lot. Now, another reason why United might be able to capitalise on this is because of the fact that, like I said already, the number 10 tend to start quite high, and this will be Enciso, but then he looks to drop in. Casemiro is essentially going to be our free man here. We can see that Fred and Fernandes have squeezed high man for man, we've got the wingers cutting the passing lanes in between the lines, Casemiro can be spare. Casemiro has to follow Enciso into these areas. Now, the problem with this going man for man is at times Brighton will drag you about, and then it kind of frees up the ability of someone like Welbeck to drop in. The centre-backs have to be aggressive. They have to be so front-footed in this game. I am gutted Lisandro Martinez isn't available. Shaw and Lindelof, you've got your work cut out, but please be aggressive on Danny Welbeck. Now, United are helped by the fact slightly that Evan Ferguson won't be available. If it was him in this game, I would be even more scared than what I am. However, I think Danny Welbeck gives United the opportunity to pinch high and win the ball. And for me, this has to be the game plan. Try and force Brighton to play the game that they want to play. They want to play through the middle of the pitch. Try and force them to do it, especially early on. But when they do it, have these traps set of Fernandes and Fred ready to apply pressure straight away, Casemiro sweeping up and Enciso behind them, the fullbacks following the wingers, but also the centre-backs being super aggressive. What this leads to is turnovers. From here, United, please, have quality on the ball. Take your time if you need to, take a touch, but quality passes on the ball. Because if they do, you can get at this Brighton defence. With Rashford running into this area here and Antony this side, with the Brighton wingers initially, Brighton fullbacks, being wide, and the Manchester United wingers actually narrow, it opens up this channel really nicely for United to exploit on the counter-attack. For me, this is what United need to do. Turn this into a game where Brighton have the ball, they're trying to bait you on, they're going to play through the middle, win the ball back, transition quickly. That is the way to hurt this Brighton team. In a very similar vibe to what we saw United do in that second half against Barcelona in the Europa League earlier in the season. For me, this is the area where United can capitalise. Now, if United are doing this well, then Brighton will be forced a little bit wider. You know, as much as they like to play through the middle, they also aren't insane. If it's not working through the middle, they will go wider. This is where we're going to see some real key battles. Because of the wingers being slightly narrow initially, the fullbacks will be an option for Brighton, so Antony and Rashford need to cover a lot of ground. Rashford, I'm looking at you, mate. Put the work in. But also, the fullbacks for United are going to be so important. On the right-hand side, Solly March up against Dalot. I think that should be a good battle. March often likes to come inside, so maybe Dalot being right-footed on this side might actually aid him a little bit. Tyrell Malacia is also an option for his kind of aggression in these situations, but Dalot has got to be on it. Whoever is left back has got to be on it. Then the other side, this for me is where the really, really interesting battle takes place. Wan-Bissaka has to play at right back for Manchester United for me, because Brighton in the left wing have a little player called Matoma, who, if you don't know by now, is probably the best dribbler in world football at the moment. Now, people will throw up names like Neymar, I completely get it, but I think Matoma genuinely might be more efficient. The way that he just gets the ball and just goes forward is unlike anything I can really recall seeing from a winger since I've been watching football. He is so dangerous. I cannot wait for the battle of Wan-Bissaka against Matoma. It should be absolutely phenomenal. If the fullbacks though, in Dalot and Wan-Bissaka, or Malacia if it's him, if they can win these battles, I do just wonder if United can actually really stunt the progress of Brighton and actually stop them moving through the pitch in the way that they want to. Now, the problem with this whole plan is that United have to execute it perfectly. If you get it a little bit wrong, things will go wrong. If Fred isn't close enough to Caicedo, then we will see Brighton playing 1-2s around them. If Fred is too aggressive, we will see the same thing, and the same with Bruno Fernandes. If Rashford doesn't work hard enough on the left-hand side, the fullback will step forward and take advantage of it and hurt Manchester United. And again, it's the same down the other side. United have to be so on it and so perfect. Maybe that's where my biggest concern is. We all saw that Sevilla game in midweek, and the confidence is going to be damaged. It's going to be hit. It has to be. They're humans. But Wembley semi-final, as a chance to go take a step in the right direction of redeeming yourself, the Manchester United players have got to be up for this game. If they aren't up for this game, they're not ever going to be up for a game. These players need to work their backsides off, because ultimately, after that game on Thursday, the fans deserve it. These players have got to step up. Now, again, like I said, the problem is against Brighton, you have to be perfect. Brighton will create chances in this game. They will get in behind a defence at times. You know, someone like Steele, for example, he might step into the back three, and it changes things. Suddenly, Brighton can progress the ball a little bit easier. Suddenly, Weghorst now has much more ground to cover. United will have to adapt to things like that. We could see the ball side 8 stepping out like this, Casemiro then taking up in midfield, and again the United centre-backs have to be aggressive. Brighton will make changes during the game. Ten Hag's management is going to have to be very, very good. But also, United are going to have to ride their luck a little bit. Because Brighton are capable of just pumping a ball in behind. With a runner like Welbeck or Enciso from deep, they are capable of doing that. And David De Gea will be tested at some point in goal in this game. I'm so sure of it. Not really a betting man, but Brighton will create a chance in this game. I'm sure of it. The Manchester United defenders, the box defence has to be good, and that will be difficult without the main centre-backs. That will be a challenge. But De Gea needs a performance. He needs a real big performance to bounce back after Thursday. Early on, probably just play it safe in terms of what he's doing on the ball, get his confidence up a little bit, because United need everyone. I often talk about kind of key players in a game, and I do think that Bruno Fernandes and Fred will be. I think their energy and their kind of intelligence of pressing is going to be absolutely key to this performance. I think if Fred and Fernandes get it wrong in midfield, United will be hurt. So there is a lot of kind of pressure on those two to perform. But Ten Hag needs more than just those two. This has to be a real team performance. If there's one United player not really on it and Brighton are close to their best, Brighton will hurt United. They really will, because I can't put into words how good they are. They are so well drilled. Tactically, they are phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. They're a joy to watch. But for me, as a Manchester United fan, Brighton, if you could just take one game off from being good, I would really appreciate it. I've got a feeling you're not going to, and I think this is going to be a battle. A real battle. A really good game. A really good spectacle. Hopefully it lives up to it. Yeah, I think that's all I've got to say for today's video, though. That is how, if I was Manchester United, I would be trying to stop Brighton. I think that's the key. There are, of course, other aspects of the game in terms of, what do United do on the ball? How can you hurt Brighton in that way? But for me, the best solution is going to be the high press, win the ball back in these areas, in this congested midfield, make it nice and scrappy in these areas, be aggressive, win your duels, win the duels. We haven't seen United do that recently. Please win the duels, and then turn it into transitioning situations with Anthony and Rashford running either side. United have themselves a chance. Will that happen? We'll have to wait and see. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. What would your lineup be? You've seen what I would go for. Would you make any changes? What are your score predictions? Who is going to win this game? Is it going to go to extra time and penalties? If so, give me a warning, because my heart can't take it. But yeah, that's all I've got to say for today's video. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the game. Make sure to come back to the channel after the game, the next day, because the match will be analysed here on the channel with another video. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. And as always, I will see you in the next one.